Hello world, welcome to the stream. This is coding a roguelike in C. And it's been a while since the last stream. I did some traveling, about 2.5 weeks, so I apologize for the lapse in streaming, but we are back. And let's dive right into it. Quick recap of where we are. Let's give us a run. Make sure it still builds and everything. Okay, so we've got our start screen here. If you remember last time we were working on Hall of Fame. So we built out a file to hold the results of the Hall of Fame, the current standings. And we wrote some code to read that file in and display it appropriately here on this screen. Right now that's just a hard-coded file. We'll be continuing work on our Hall of Fame today. And then as for the game itself, this bat is going to kill us because bats are nasty if you have no weapons. But that will bring us to the end game screen here. So we built out the hero stats. We've got this coming soon for the Hero Hall of Fame here. So we have to build this out as well. So the goal of this stream is to hopefully finish up work on our Hero Hall of Fame. So put it onto this screen, finish it on the Hall of Fame credit screen that you can get to from the main screen, the launch screen, and also at the end of the game we need to update our Hall of Fame, or we need to first check and see if the current game qualifies for the Hall of Fame, and if it does, then we would update the Hall of Fame list. Write that out to a file and so display it appropriately. So if you were with me last stream, I started working on the endgame processing, but there was a bug that was causing me issues. And so for the time being, I just commented out all this code so I could come back to it. And now I believe it's the time to come back to it. So we will, before we do this, we're going to be jumping to the game over screen for a lot today. So I'd like to make it easier to do that. Put in a hotkey or something. So what we'll do is we'll put in a command that will let us basically indicate that the game's over and just jump to that end game screen. So we'll put it as a global key press because we don't want it to be tied to a specific screen. And let's see, what key do we want to use to indicate? I don't think we're using Q, so maybe Q for quit, or I think we're using E, whip. Maybe we'll just do X for X out our player. Risky mode. Let's do, so what we want to do here is when the player hits the X key, jump to our end game. I believe, is it just this game over? So We want to see player dies. So it's like health. Sorry, I've been away a couple of weeks, so I've got to come up to speed with the code base. All right, health removal update, health recover, health check death. So this is it, string it. So we just call game over, it looks like. But we also want to show the end game screen, so let's borrow these two. I may need to forward declare those because it's probably not going to recognize them. So, by X. Oh, obviously I need to start the game, so X. Oh, okay. I just realized if I hit that on the first screen, that could be an issue. But, let's see what happens, just for giggles. Yeah, it'd go crashy. So we just won't hit that key on the launch screen. Or we can just move it to the in-game screen. Let's just do that so we don't inadvertently crash the game. So screen. We want our screen. And the event handler for it's in our debug section. Let's wrap this one up. Alright, so now X shouldn't work, right? And then name and then X will work. Okay. So we've got our shortcut now to jump to the end game screen and trigger an end game scenario. So the next step is to uncomment this code and get it to work. So what we want to do when the game ends is load the existing Hall of Fame data so that we can determine if the game that just finished qualifies for the Hall of Fame, which we do in the next step, and we loop through the listings in the Hall of Fame. If the current game score, and remember we're using gems found as our scorekeeping mechanism. If the current game score is higher than the entry score, then it makes the list. And then, so if it makes the list, we check if our Hall of Fame contains more than 10 entries, and if so, we stop at 10. We chop off anything after that. And if we've updated the Hall of Fame persisted to disk, which we need to do. So if Jim's phone total, I was looking at the code offline and I realized that, hey PSI Soft, how's it going? What is the name of the game engine? It doesn't have a name. It's a custom engine. I wrote the whole thing. The only kind of third-party library / framework that's being used is for graphics and input handling. I'm using SDL. Hey, somebody followed. Thanks, PSI. I appreciate it. Appreciate the follow. Yeah, so this is a custom game engine. I wrote all of the kind of UI graphics code, and the rest is kind of a custom game loop with, you know, all of the logic for the game. So there's no third-party framework here. I'm doing that to kind of learn C at a deeper level, and just because it's a fun thought exercise. So, but what I was saying is I was looking offline and I realized that I screwed up my malloc here. So I have this create a new entity and load it up with the game data, and when I do malloc here, I'm doing size of new entity, and that's not right, because new entity is the name of my variable. So I need to do the size of the type that I'm trying to create, which in this case is config entity. So I think this may have been what was leading to the crashing bug, and I think we should spin it up and give it a try. So I've already got an issue. Oh, I've got other issues. Okay, so 1575, new entity, undeclared fire. Oh yeah. Why do I have that as score? This is camel case with my variables here. Let's see what else. What other issues do we have? Level is not a config entity. Of course, it's not. What am I? It's like, but I'm not really sure what I was thinking here. So config entity, if we can go to the definition here, it's basically just a name. It represents a config, an entity in our config file. So let me show you really quick what a config file looks like. They're super simple. They're text only, and in this case, this is our hard-coded Hall of Fame config file, just because I want something to test with initially. It's got one entity. Our entities are called records in this particular config file. So this is the entity name in the square brackets, and then each entity header is followed by one or more lines of key value pairs, and the keys are separated by the values by the equal sign. So it's super simple. You know, real basic to parse. But what I'm doing here just doesn't even compute with this stuff. So I need to create a new config entity. And then what I really need to do is create several key value pairs and then shove those into this list of key values. So I'm just, yeah, like the way that I'm creating this particular config entity is just all wrong. So let's fix that first. New entity name is correct. Key value pairs is what I need to spin up. And we'll do that by doing list new, maybe? List, if you remember, I'm saying this so I remind myself, list is a doubly linked list that we created. List new. Take a pointer to our destroy function, which in this case is just going to be null because we'll use the default, and then a pointer to, that's all we need. Just takes the one. Let's double check. It just takes a pointer to our from Alex and a pointer to free. I guess data that shouldn't be cleaned up send null. So I guess we'll send a pointer to free. Because we are going to want to clean this up. Alright, so instead some helper routines here. I have to jump to this and see what I've got. Look at that. To do. So apparently what I wanted to do is have a helper method, which is always a good idea. A helper routine to help me do that. So let's do that, because that seems to make a lot of sense to me. Okay. So what we're going to want this code to do, set name to player name. We're going to want to set, now it's starting to come back to me. I'm going to want to set the level to that. And then we're also going to need a routine for config. Let's look, what do we got? We got level, gems, and date. Level, gems, date. So we got name, level, gems, and in this case, we're gonna that. I think before I left on my vacation, I copy pasted from another part of the code and was meaning to make it right for this section of the code, and that particular bit of information was lost while I was on vacation. Just whisked right out of my brain. All right. So we're going to have to build out this config entity set value. We'll get to that in a second, but let's write the code that we'd like to have in this section, and then we can build the code that supports it. So it was also complaining. It's complaining about time structure. Undeclared identifier for TM. TM should be part of the library. Let's see if I'm using this anywhere else. The Googles. So if I click time, let's put this on screen. So this is the time.h header declares the structure TM. Spec. So I assume that would be struct TM. Take struct TM right there. So that must define. Let's make sure that we including our time.h right there. Seeing that, I can't remember if we're using this anywhere else. Yeah, it's not gonna super help. Okay. Ah, this one doesn't actually, maybe it's just TM. According to the function signature, it's maybe just a TM. Let's see. TM, undeclared identifier. That's super helpful. so I can a pointer to it. The crap. Let's fix this because I know this is wrong. It's 2. Call this date, and then do the value of it. Get rid of it. So now we just have that. What's this? 1578. Derp. That could be leading to our issue. Nope, now we just have the time issue. So it takes a time. And it returns a static TM pointer. Alright, no. So it doesn't. Look, it even, I guess it assumes struct TM. See. Nice goal. Hey Puzzle Gamer, how's it going? Nice feature of Unity is the ease in which you can target many platforms. So yeah, I mean, but in this case, this game actually runs on multiple platforms. So it will run on Windows. It will also run. Tested it on Mac OS, and it should run on Linux without any issues as well. Because I've written it using a portable C, and then I'm using the reason that I chose SDL as kind of the one library that I'm going to be incorporating in is because it allows for that multi-platform input handling and the multi-platform visual output graphics control. So this game, I have both a Windows machine and a Mac, so I've run it on both without any changes to the code really. I do need to use separate build files, obviously, because there's different compilers and they take slightly different options. But in terms of the code base, it runs without any sort of changes, which is kind of cool. And, you know, Unity does a lot of great stuff for you. One of the reasons I wanted to do this project is to kind of figure out exactly how much these third-party platforms actually do for you. It's nice to be able to say that, oh, I actually know what this framework is doing for me under the hood because I've built something like it. Now, I'm not saying that this framework is anything like Unity. I mean, Unity has thousands and thousands of development man-hours built into it. And this particular project probably has, let's see, this is day 45 of the stream, and each stream is roughly 2 hours long. So that's about 90 hours. And then I have done a bit of offline work, maybe another 40 hours, I'd say. So we're talking 120, 130 hours of work into this. But it's a fun thought exercise. I mean, wrestling with memory management and pointers is sometimes a major pain in the butt, but it's really helpful to know what your computer's doing. Hey, False Park, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. It seems like we have a couple new viewers. I should probably just show you the game real quick. I comment out this. I comment this out for the moment, so I can build it and show you guys the current state of the game. So here we are. Again, it's a classic ASCII roguelike. So we've got ASCII only graphics, although I have built in a secret graphical mode that is accessed via the T key for toggle. So you've got real graphics and ASCII graphics. And this, I actually built a function that will take a bitmapped image and turn it into an ASCII-fied image of it. Some great plugins for C support and Visual Studio Code. Yes, there are. When I started this project, I was using Sublime Text because it's multi-platform, and like I said, I code on Mac and Windows. So I need a tool that goes both places. And I started in Sublime Text for all its great plugins and stuff. And then about a month and a half ago, I tried the latest version of Visual Studio Code. I tried it a while ago, and it was not quite there yet. But some of the recent builds it's a really solid tool, and it's got great support for C and C++ and all that stuff. So CLang on Mac, it's got good stuff. So I'd recommend it if you haven't checked it out and you're looking for some a text editor along the lines of Sublime Text or Atom or whatnot. Visual Studio Code is really strong, and the reason I switched is because it's got the integrated debugger, which is nice. So here's our game. We've got our player stats down here in the left corner. Random name generation, with a fair bit of constraints. Our HP bar, and then our current stats level of gems. We've got a kobold in our way, and you can see the health bar as I'm taking hits goes down. Killed it. Got a shield, so we'll pick that up. Go to the inventory screen here, and we can equip that shield. See that our defense goes up. It's this bit. And we're going to run away from the bats, because bats are nasty. They get 2 hits. And he's hitting us all the way, see? Because he can move and hit at the same time. A sword. Oh, I'll take an axe. Oh, the kobold's in my way. I think I might eat it here. Let's get this. Battle axe, equip this. Now we can do some damage. Is it a little too late? No, we're just hacking things apart now. So wander around. The point is to collect these gems. That's how the scorekeeping is done. There's 5 gems per level, so it's kind of like I borrowed from the Mario games a bit, where you've got like 100 coins per level, and to win the game like 100% you need to find all the coins, but to win the level you don't need to necessarily find all the coins. If you just want to go to the end, you can. See here I've got 3 gems, but I can go down the level if I wanted. So we'll just descend. So play proceeds. We need to do some game balancing here, because right now, once the player gets some equipment, it's just nearly unkillable. So we need to balance out the strength of our weapons and defensive values. Oh, and we just crashed. Got here. Going to debug. Trying to do site on something that's null. Alright, Puzzle Gamer, take it easy. You haven't already, hit that follow button so you get notified. I try and stream as regularly as possible, but thanks, False Park. Yeah, I implemented the line of sight kind of field of vision based on an algorithm that I kind of devised from some other algorithms that I'd seen, and I'm really happy the way it came out. So for some reason, we've got a... thank you, Puzzle Gamer, for the follow. I appreciate it. Have a good lunch. Be here for a bit, so catch you again soon. Somehow we are trying to see... We've got a game object in our list that... D. -1. Why are we even trying to... Got a game object at the position that is... Got the game object. It's... This ID of -1 means it's not set, so we should probably add a check here. Got something. False Park location. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. We should add a safety check here. That if we get a game object that has an ID of -1, yeah, just stop. Don't examine it. Don't do anything. Let's add that. I think I actually have a V. I think I've actually got a defined value for that. Unused! Look at that. It's been a while since I... So, if our ID is not used, do this stuff. So I think that, you know, despite the abrupt ending to that playthrough, I think you get a sense for what the game looks like. So I need to figure out what's going on with this time. It's TM struct. Struct TM. So we'll do. Let's put the Googles back up. Stack over. How to use the TM structure. Struct TM. I mean, this is essentially what I'm. Struct TM star. Not worked a lot with dates in C, so still trying to stuff out. Does it not like the fact that shouldn't be? Should. Right? Still doesn't. Undeclared identifier. Just so it's all click struct TM. So sure struct TM. Include time to this. It's probably something done. Simple that I'm saying. So this. It says it returns a static. Hey Fistic, how's it doing? How's it going? Not Unity, oh! PogChamp. Yes, not Unity. Straight up C. Alright, well, this seems to indicate that I don't need to say struct TM specifically. I thought there was a Visual Studio Code, just like a build. Is it B command? That's not it. Jumped into the debugging. was a config that I set up. It's just the launch stuff. Anyway. The Gel Mega, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. What's up? Visual Studio Code, absolutely proprietary, disgusting. Yeah, well, you know what? I was using Sublime Text before that, which is also proprietary, but it's if you can look past the proprietariness of it, it's Visual Studio Code is actually just a really good tool. Which hey, I went through like a big anti-Microsoft phase way back when, but a lot of the stuff that the company is doing recently has they've really come to embrace more open source things, and they've really started adding some real value to the community. So I am not as reluctant to use their tool sets as I once was. And Visual Studio Code is a pretty sweet tool at the moment. But like, yeah, I wouldn't go all in on the Visual Studio. So I'm not really sure what's going on with this. So when I hover over that, I get the struct TM. Clearly is unhappy. My undeclared identifier. So Twitch is using non-free software. Yeah. Hey, but I'm using it, so if I'm using first of all, Visual Studio Code is free. It's not open source entirely, although I think they've actually open source parts of it. It's built on Electron, which is open source. So it's got proprietary bits, but it's kind of wrapped those proprietary bits with open source, loving open source cushion. But if I'm using the tool to write code that is freely available in a repo on GitHub, so we're mitigating the evil. Does anyone have experience with this struct time TM function structure? See what I'm doing here. Yes, I know, Festic. Free as in freedom, not beer. I've been a long-time proponent of open source. I've gone to the O'Reilly Open Source Convention, written some open source, and I'm a big fan. Use Linux at work and all that such stuff. But sometimes, this is the proper tool for this particular job. So I'm not going to get religious about it. See, this lights up all nice. Got time T here, but this one does not. It's like not recognizing it. Everything has an NSA backdoor. You should know that by now. they're watching this stream right now. But I wonder. I guess I should maybe just jump in. Can I jump into this? Let's close that one. All right, so now we're in time.h. Let's find this struct. Maybe it doesn't, maybe it's a Windows thing. Maybe it doesn't work in Windows. Right there, struct TM. Wow, what a cluster this is. Functions. Am I missing the? I don't actually see. Time T. I don't actually see the structure different. What is this? Core CRT, core. They are clearly using struct TM here. So, what am I missing? TM undeclared identifier. Jumped. Just not happy about this line right here. One issue I can see here. So this is a point where I need to do this. So that should eliminate some of the other routes. Nope, still complete. Just TM is not. fix that up. Hey, Lures Geek, how's it going? Struck from an external header. The header's incorporated in. Yeah, it's been. It can be complainy about it's declared like that, but it's I'm using the most modern version of C, so it should allow you to declare and assign to declare identifier. Yeah, it doesn't like this. Try doing this. It doesn't like the TM. So struct TM should be in. I'm pulling in time H right here. So the header should be included. Should be visible. Should we try extern? Is that? That's not. Is that right? That's not right. Let's see. Maybe I don't have the right header file. This should be in time.h. I wonder if in Windows it's. No, it doesn't have to be declared at the top of the block. That's C89. That's old school, dude. With C99 and I think in C99 they introduced you can declare variables inline. You don't have to restrict them to the top of the block anymore. Now, if you're doing K and RC, which is 80s C programming, then you would need to put all of your declarations at the very top of the scope. But no, that shouldn't be the issue, because like right here with time T, I'm declaring this inline. That's not a problem. But one thing I just I'm wondering if it's a Windows thing, because somebody on the Googles is saying that it's actually defined in wchar.h under Windows. Let's just see if perhaps time.c should be good enough. But I'm willing to try anything at this point, so. Nope, that didn't help. Let's see. I'll look for an example of using local time. Because at this point it might be include time.h game.c. Yeah, I might try that. Although game C actually includes. You know what? That might be. Let's look at this. See, I pull in game C down here. So I'm using a single compilation unit. So basically dark C pulls in everything into a giant compilation unit. But yeah, I might as well just try. And the really weird thing is that it's not complaining about time t. Where's this defined? Is that from? So that's not actually from. That may not actually be coming from time.h. It's probably coming from different. Let's go. So here we are, MSDN, which is supposedly the source of truth for takes a struct TM, turns a struct TM, turns a pointer to the structure result. Fields of the structure store the following values. So standard IO string and time. Struct TM right there. And let's do new time is equal to that. So let's just make sure I've got stand IO, I've got string. So I have all the same includes. Struct TM. There's a link, so let's see. TM. Standard types. See an example of TM, struct TM, and they're not doing a pointer. Yeah, yeah, I originally had it without a pointer and it was still complaining. Let's look at this. So standard types. Let's find our TM struct. It's defined in time.h. Killing me, Windows. You're killing me. Alright, one thing, let's just remove the struct keyword. Grr. I wonder. My code looked exactly like code on SDN. Let's say undeclared identifier. You only see time in standard IO in dark.c. Yeah, that's where they are. But what dark.c does is this is the only thing we compile, and it actually includes all of the other C files in it. So it builds a single compilation unit. It's not the most standard way to build a project, but this one's small enough that I just decided to go with a single compilation unit. I guess we could, for giggles, just see what happens if I put it doesn't complain about it in dark. So it must be something about what I am doing. Good call there, Skeek. It's only using time, I think, yeah, it looks like it's an include problem. So let's move it. I'm using it game.c, so let's try this. What? It's only complaining down below. What the? This is a strange one. Yeah, like what? That's a weird one. All right, let's do this. Got it here. Let's go back to struct tm. Maybe this will work. because I'm doing stupid stuff with pointers here, but let's... Ah. Does it not like the pointer?
Rewind to before I changed, started acting strange, had my life in my own hands.
1580.
I was wasting time thinking things were fine, but you had other plans. Behind your weak disguise,
Oh, der. Alright, this is a stupid error. That's on me. Alright, we're real close. Okay, let's try... What? Scratching my head. What? Thanks, Lors Geek, but I think we got it. So this is the code that I had earlier. Apparently it was an include problem, because once I brought in time t in here, it needed to be... You know, I wonder... Yeah, I wonder if there was something clobbering... Alright, well, we appear to be good now. Well, not good, but it's building. So let's continue implementing. I have to come back later. Play with that a little bit more. Okay, so we've got our config entity. We're calling config entity set value, which right now doesn't do anything. We're going to insert the new entity into our... Yeah, maybe the ID. The ID shouldn't be... Shouldn't... The build file should be looking okay. And pretty straightforward. Time t is like standard loop stuff, so it should be. We'll have to play with that offline and see if I can figure out why that particular is so finicky. And like, for example, well, I guess time t is not declared in time.h, I don't think. So that's why time t was working and struct tm was not. Go figure. Okay, so I think the rest of this stuff, we'll step through it, but breakpoint in here. So I want to run through all of this step by step just to make sure it's working as expected. But what we need to do is write that that function that sets the value. Got a nice to-do in here. But I just want to check the rest of the outer logic first. So check if the Hall of Fame contains more than 10 entries. If so, we code the list. if the list size is greater than 10, we basically remove list entities from the end of the list until it's there's not more than 10, and then later on we'll come back and we'll write our persistence function that will basically flatten our entity data to lines of to strings, and then we'll write those strings to a text file. So config entity set value, we're going to grab the entity, and then we're going to get an entity, a pointer to the entity, a pointer to the key, and a pointer to the value. So first things first, we need to check and make sure that our entity has show you what that structure looks like. It's got a name and a list pointer to key value pair. So we need to make sure that this is a valid pointer, that it has a pointer to a list before we do anything else. Hey, Nubtrons, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. To the stream. How's everyone doing out there? It's Saturday afternoon, evening, depending. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is determine if our entity if it's null, we need to make it something useful. Key value pairs. Being a bit lazy before going to do some coding on Unity. Hey, yeah. Hey, you know, I'm not saying anything bad about Unity. Unity is an excellent tool, and it's produced a lot of really cool games. So, you know, at the end of the day, the player doesn't care what you build your game in. They just care that the game is fun. So, if whatever tool you use to build games that are fun, good on you. You know, like I've said, I'm not necessarily. If I wanted to build a 3D game, for example, or whatever, and I'm a solo programmer, like I would certainly lean on some tools like that. The purpose of this particular project is more to force me to learn C, and to do so in a fun way, which is creating a game. So, like a lot of times when I learn new languages, I like to work on interesting projects so that it maintains my interests and gets me excited about learning new things. So it's a good, I keep saying, it's a good thought exercise. I write in higher level languages every day for work, and it's nice to be able to exercise different parts of the brain that you don't need to think about when you have your memory managed for you and all of that sort of thing. So it's just a good brain exercise. All right, so what we're going to do is set list new, and that's going to take a to our function that we used to clean up memory on the list. In this case, it's just going to be so that should give us a valid key value pair list for that. So once we have a working list, we need to generate a key value pair, and that is just a key and a value. So we'll do key is equal to our, probably going to need to copy it. Just these are strings. Just going to do string do. And so now we have a key value pair. Are going to add that to the list. So entity do list insert after, and so order does order map insert on the end of the list. So we've got to create a list element for our data as well. I should just add a helper method to my list that just gives it the data and then it adds all that stuff. Hey Emil, how's it going? This is Visual Studio Code. Correct. It's not Xamarin Studio. Visual Studio Code. I was using Sublime Text for a while. Because one of the things that I need from my text editor is to be able to be used on, cross-platform, Mac, Windows, etc. Hey, Emil. Welcome to the stream. Bottom blue bar, is that the giveaway? Yeah. Yeah, I was using Sublime Text, but the reason I switched is Visual Studio Code, as I was saying, has come a long way in the last 6 months. It's so feature-wise, it's at par with Sublime Text, and it's got the built-in debugger, integrated debugger, which is really sweet. So when I was using Sublime Text, I would need to use an outside debugger. So on Windows, that meant like firing up Visual Studio to get at the debugger, and then on Mac, I would usually just use LLDB, which is too command line-ish for my taste. I really like to be able to use my debugger efficiently. So yeah, I agree, Emil. It's come a long way, and there are a bunch of plugins. It's got some good. So right now I'm just using the one extension, the C++ language support, because it's already got a bunch of integrated stuff for like GitHub like built in. I have TAC. Welcome to the stream and thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's come along. Should build a. Every time I go in, I scope creep. So see a new function to add to my library. It'd be sweet if I had just a list, like append, and was able to just hand it the data. I don't think I do. Oh, this is. Oh, that's right. Okay, so this list element, I got confused myself. This list element is actually the element you want to insert after. It's not the one. Hungry Zopa, welcome to the stream and thank you for the follow. How's everyone doing today? Is everybody mostly a dev or game dev, other kind of dev? What kind of experiences with game dev you folks have? So I'm going to give it the tail, because if I send it to null, it's going to go out of the list. I want to put it on the list, so I just do list tail. Should do it. Our to-do can just become a comment now. So we've got if our key value pair list is null, we'll create a new one. We will then create a key value pair and assign our key and value that's passed to us. And then we will insert to the end of our key value pair list the pair that we just created. That should be everything. They're not cleaning up at this point because the list doesn't list needs it to not go out of scope or be cleaned up. The list is now owning it. Let's test what we have so far. Hey, it builds. Ship it. Oh, a bat right off the bat. We have a bat. It's gonna block us from getting our sword. You suck, bat. All right. Well, we didn't actually find any gems, so it should be interesting. Is our current Oh, so this actually leads to a problem here. If the current game are to our logic for determining whether a game makes the list. So this just compares it. It gets the highest score on the list, or I guess it gets the what? Hold on, this is not right. So the current game should make the Hall of Fame if there's fewer than 10 entries. Hey Zed, how's it going? Doesn't look like a performance-hungry game. Why do it in a hard language like C? Well, I think one of the reasons is to learn C, and as I'm learning C, it kind of dispel the myth that C is hard, too difficult to use. It certainly can be, and you can certainly get in the weeds a lot more easily with C, but it also grants you a lot more power. And so while this is a very simple game, it's really just the first game that I'm planning to build. And so it's helping me get familiar with the language, and from there I can go and be more ambitious with the next game. All the while building up, certain libraries and such that I'm writing for this one, I can reuse those in the next one. So like, this one I had to write everything from scratch, so it's kind of, there's a big load up front just to be able to get stuff on the screen, but it's the next project will hopefully be a little bit easier because I'm more familiar with the language and because I've built kind of a set of reusable libraries. So next time I won't have to write the doubly linked list, I can just use the one I have. And then in terms of parts of the game engine, like maybe I don't need to write a field of view code, I can reuse that one, or if I want to play with how the field of view works, I can use my current algorithm as a foundation baseline. All right, so I'm realizing now that I've kind of omitted a big use case here that will determine if a current game makes the list. Hall of Fame is up to 10 entries, so if we have fewer than 10 entries on the list, this game should automatically make the Hall of Fame, right? So I think my first check needs to be if the Hall of Fame has fewer than 10 entries, just do not pass go, do not collect $200, just go straight to the list. Zed, thanks for the follow. I'm not pronunciation of your name. So config parsing our Hall of Fame. We've got our list now of the Hall of Fame configs, the entities. Thanks, Nubtrons. Yeah, I try and make it. I mean, you can make any language, no matter how high level. You can make the code unreadable. So, conversely, no matter how low level the language, you can actually make it decently readable. Even assembly has kind of gotten better with allowing you variable names and that sort of thing. But yeah, with a language like C, you can certainly make it as intimidating or as welcoming as you like. Entity, so I'm just going to add to the if. So if fewer 10 entries, or assembly is a true nightmare. No, it's not. I mean, if anything that's unfamiliar to you is extra scary, but like assembly doesn't have to be awful. So if this is HOF config just my parentheses here. HOF config entities size, that's what it is. List size is less than 10, or the gems found total, which is how much I've found in this game, the current game that's ending, is greater than gem count. I should probably rename this. Let's see, all this just gem count. Why not C++? C++ allows for OO, if I'm not mistaken. Again, it's more that I wanted to learn C than C++. I know C++, I've used it professionally, and that was a while ago. And I really wanted to learn just kind of portable C. And I didn't want to go OO with my design because, again, this part of this is a thought exercise. So by not allowing myself the object-oriented tool chest, which some people would argue is a less than good thing, you know, it's forcing me to think more functionally and kind of stretch my brain in different ways. So what do I use to build the game? GCC, CLang, or MS Build? So the game actually is written cross-platform, so I have built it. This is obviously Windows, so it uses the the Microsoft compiler to build, but I also use a Mac, so it builds with CLang as well. It's on a Mac just fine with code changes. Obviously, the build settings need to change and compiler options and such. But the only real platform-specific files in the repo you'll see are the build files. So, all right, so the other thing, we've got list size less than 10. That automatically qualifies the current game for the Hall of Fame. Or the current game score is higher than the entry score. And I think I was maybe not doing the entry score properly either. So the entry score should be the lowest gem count out of all of the games in the list. So if I looping through the list here, so perhaps, that's right. I've got to insert it in the proper place. So what I need to do to break this out into different logic, I can't have it be part of the if, because I don't want to loop. Still got to loop. Let's pull this out. This is wrong. Because we need to figure out the proper position in the list as well. So why not use standard 32T, etc. I am using the int32T. I just kind of redefine it. It's using typedef int32 underscore T. I just made it shorter to the I32, just doing a typedef. I agree. OOP is can be very easily overused, which goes any kind of design tool or technique can be overused, and OOP has kind of fallen into that trap as well. It can be very useful, but it can also be way overkill. I know. I don't know where all these people are coming from. But I'm glad that everyone's here. Hope everybody is enjoying the stream. You don't get the point to type def the enter. It's specific with us texture code. I just typed def it so to make it shorter. It's just a shorter thing to type. I'm still using the 32-bit int. It's just where is it? That's not what I'm doing here. PJ Partridge, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. To the stream. What's an unnecessary hurdle? Programmers. having to define the width of your integer, or did I hit the end of list? What? So long. No, it's just a quiet song. Okay. Where is it? I think I did it here. Here we go. Just doing my typed Fs on all these uints with the underscores and stuff that can trip my fingers up. I just make U8, U32, U64, etc. All right, back to salt mines here. So we need to find the correct position on the list. So I think that this logic was correct. What I need to add at the end is if I didn't insert it through looping, then I need to check and see if there are less than or fewer than 10 entries and just add it to the end if there is. Stretch my hands. Good call, man. All right. Gems found. So the gem count here. If gems found total is greater, then we're going to insert it after the prior entry to the current one. So that it will basically insert it in the list for the entry that we're looking at. So that's right. HOF updated is true. So what we're going to do here, if we didn't update the list yet, and there are fewer than 10 entries, if say low score and 10 entries. List size. I gotta spit. Wrap this in a function in a bit. Sweet. So the create the new entity with stuff All right, let's see what we got. It builds. That's always a success. Get me a battle axe. Gem. Okay, so we got a gem. Shield. I should probably just got a gem. I should probably just end the game and wrap it up. Excuse me. So if we trip our, remember we added that shortcut at way back at the beginning of the stream to jump to our endgame scenario. So let's see if that works now. Yep. Gem count total is 2. That's right for this game, and the gem count existing entry, if you remember. I can't see it right now. It's 14. It's our existing kind of hard-coded entry to get us started. So we're going to fall out of this loop. And now we'll see if it contains more than 10 entries. If so, oh, what the? You know what? This is where Visual Studio Code doesn't make me happy. Stop. It's got this code open in 2 windows. And they're different. Where did it go? Did that eat my update? Well, that's weird, because I'm pretty sure I just wrote that code. I mean, you guys saw that, right? I'm like losing my mind here. What? Am I? There was code here that was like if no, it's okay. I like rewriting code. All right. There's something going on with. I saw this happen to me once before, and I don't know what the steps are to reproduce it, but somehow Visual Studio Code opens up the same file in 2 tabs, and like they're different versions, and if you save the wrong one, overwrite your stuff with old stuff, and you're just driven mad eventually. Did I not save it or something? Maybe. Grr. Hey, Sir Waffle, what's up, man? Wrong focus. Focus on the wrong field there, huh? think that's what it is, the debug. Yeah, I gotta watch that. I gotta be careful. But the debug code had the wrong. Yeah, it had like the older stuff. I don't know. We'll be wary in the future for that. Not a terrible amount of harm done. Yeah, Sir Waffle, me too. I like the integrated debugger. That's why I made the switch from Sublime Text. Okay, let's. I think I have reproduced the code that was there. Except for the comment, so. Alright, saving, saved. Now we got. What? No. Fat fingered something. Okay. Still have the breakpoints in the debug code and update the code current tab. But I wasn't updating while I was debugging. That was, yeah, I don't know. Maybe that was from a previous run, that second file. Let's find a gem. There's one. And quit. Okay, let's make sure we've got the right code here. Yes, appears to be there. Excellent. So we don't qualify for the list by score. However, we should enter here. Yes. So we'll create the new config entity. Set its name. Switch over to debug. It's record. What did I just hear? Zenbor, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Oh, you guys still see the game? I'm sorry. Let me hide it. No, that's not it. Let's see, how do I... Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. So, we fell out, we didn't qualify for the list by high score, but we qualified because the Hall of Fame only has one other entry. So right now we're going through our creation of our record. So we just set the name to a record. Now we're going to see if our, remember we just built out this config entity set value. So let's step into that and see if everything is working as expected. So this entity should not have a key value pairs yet. Where are we? Entity null. So we'll go ahead and create one. Now we've got a list. Okay. And now we'll create this KV which sets the key to name and the value to Zoru Pikeslinger. An excellent fantasy name. Then we'll insert it in the list. So that appears to have worked as expected. So we'll just go through with the rest of these and assume that they work. All right, so now we're in our time function that caused us so much grief earlier just to get to compile. There's our raw time. Our struct TM today is going to be this thing that looks reasonable. It's month, year, there. So that looks reasonable because I think it's 0 based, so that's actually month 7 days. I don't even know what day it is. That seems somewhat reasonable. Let's see. Great. So then we're going to insert after at the end of our list. And mark it true. Contains more than 10 entries, call the list. It should not. And then we'll jump. So I think we jump out of here because this. Oh, it should have gone in here, but I guess this probably got optimized out because it. Well, I don't know why. Because it doesn't contain any code, that loop, so it probably just got optimized out. So far, everything appears to be working. So the last bit is to write this persistence persistence code. You guys seeing the stream just dropped a little bit, the frame rate? Hopefully everyone's still with me. It's weird. All right, let's write the code to persist this. I think I actually, do I want to write it in my config library? I want something like a config file write. And give it a file name. Yeah? So this will take a file name, and it will take the data to write, which will be a config entity. No. It will be a config. Just want to write the whole thing. Alright, so I don't have a lot of experience writing files in C, so this will be a learning size exercise. Oh wait, stop. Before I do anything, I've got the double games again. I don't want to lose useful stuff. Let's figure out which one is not what we want. This is the one we want. This is also the one we want. They both have the code that we want, so let's just close this one. Okay. So the code we're going to want in this is config file right. And what we are going to write is this HOF config, right? And the name of our file is this HOF config. It's the same file we parsed. Get rid of this to do because the only line of code that needs to be here is this call to our function. What are you doing? Alright, what sequence of commands did I just do that? This is the old stuff. It's unsaved. This is a saved. What are you doing to me, this code? Do not want to save that. That's going to drive me batty. I'll have to figure out what it is that I'm doing that's making that happen. Because I wasn't touching the debugger at all. What I did do is I jumped. Did I jump? No, jump to the definition. Right? See, that'll open a new one. I don't know why it doesn't. It's just dumb. Alright. So this is what our config files look like. We've got, this is an entity. There's only one. The entity name is record, and then we've got these key value pairs. So what we're going to want to do is loop through our entities. So we have our, that's all our config struct is it's just a list of entities right now. So we'll do config. It's going to be entities, right? It's not equal to null. We're going to loop through. At the very bottom we do that's our basic loop for our list. So our entity, we're going to grab We grab a reference to the entity, and then we want to, so for each entity, we're going to run a write out the name of that entity. So we'll do because each entity has a name and then its own list of key value pairs. So what we want to do when we're persisting it is write out the name of the entity in between square braces. And is that just a char string? I could probably create a string and then write the string to the file. So let's use my formatting string, which again, apologize, I've been on vacation for a while, so I need to basically remember how to use my own libraries here. String create. And it just returns a char star. And so string create will handle all the allocations and such. So returns a star. String with format. So we want the square braces around our string. And we'll want to write that to write that line to the file. So we're going to need to open our file for writing, which we do in our file for reading here. Everyone's still with me? Chat's awfully quiet. How's everyone doing this afternoon / evening / tomorrow, depending on where, I guess. So I'm gonna So it looks like I just need fputs. Put string, or I can do fprintf if I want. So fprintf, because so you just use fprintf and not worry about doing all this interim stuff, because I can do string with fprintf. Let's try that. We'll give it our config file. Enter. and then our format. So that's where we do the, and then let's do entity name. Or we don't have to create all this extra memory usage. So that should write the name, excuse me. That should write the entity name in square braces to the file. How's everyone doing out there? I got a frog in my throat now. Sweet. Dang y'all, what's up? I think this is our record number of viewers for my stream. So welcome to everyone. Glad everyone is here. Hope everyone is enjoying the stream. I will demo the game in its current state, hopefully real soon, as soon as I get this persistence to the file going. So I need, so that writes the entity name. Let's quickly get through this. We need to then loop through each entity's key value pairs. So in this case, let's just do I don't like these var names necessarily, but in this case, it's our entity key value pairs that we're looping through. So we do while e is not equal to null, and then we'll do le equals list next. So that's the parameters of our loop here. So now inside of each element in the sublist is one of these config key value pair things. So we'll do config key pair grab one of those from LE data. And now we're going to write basically these four things: name, level, gems, date. So we can use our fprintf again for that, giving it our config file pointer, and then the string's going to be our key string, and then the equal sign, and then our value string. So we're going to do kv key and then kv value, and that should write. This should loop 4 times and write those out. And then finally, right here before we get out of here, we got to close our file. So I think it's just dev close or something. Do I not close the file here? I think it might close. Does it close when it goes out of scope? Or is this a problem here that I need to fix? I guess I should probably just close it. Definitely here after I write, so let's just do F close. Okay, let's run this bad boy and see what happens. And again, let's... I guess we'll just put a breakpoint here. Go! Hey, it compiles first try. Always a success. And we got some gems right here, so we're going to pick up these 2 gems and then we'll immediately initiate the quit. So, oh, and I gotta remember to hide the game so that you guys can actually see what's going on. There we go. Alright, so we hit our breakpoint. Give ourselves a little more room. Doesn't qualify by score, but it should qualify by the fact that the list is not full. Chero Kuro, what's up? See ya. We've got, so keep going. We write the record. I think we're okay with this. We were happy with this. So now HOF updated should be true, and we should come into our file write. Which hits this breakpoint. Config file has a value. So now we're going to loop through. We're going to grab this entity, which should have the name record. Yes, it does. We're going to write it to the file, which didn't fail, apparently, so that's good. And then we'll loop through and crash. What happened? Everything went bye-bye. Hello? Did we jump out of... That was weird. We're back in the game, so something didn't work. Let's quit that and try again. Very quickly try and find a gem. The game, get it, and exit. Okay. Something's not happy. Let's remove this breakpoint. And seem to die right about here. Let's Hey, look at that. Stuff got written. Ah, what am I missing in my right? So it looks like the debugger got confused, but it looks like it's got 2 records here. Let's kind of break things out, because obviously I forgot to put some new lines into my persistence routine, but let's just validate that the data was right. So that's our Joe Schmo data that was static, 6/1/2017. This looks right. Sweet. Save this. And we'll go into our config and add a new line to that and also to that. Important. Move these breakpoints. Let's just see. Okay, so I saved, and now why do I have this? It just squirted out another file. Level and gems are in different order. Yeah, so that's fine. The order is not important with the key value pairs. It's not a. I'm not. I don't have a problem with that. And I think I do level gems. Yeah, it's actually writing it out the same way that I. Oh yeah, that's weird. I think so. I believe that the reason that this order is different than this order is because this was the original record that I kind of hard coded, and so I probably had it in this order, and then when I wrote the code to persist it, I did it in this order. So, what we can do is remove our original hard-coded kind of seed file. I don't know why it's just squirted out that extra tab. That was weird. All right, let's go. Can we read it in our Hall of Fame file? We can. There's Argu Goldbringer. Level 1, 2 gems. Start a new game. See if we can beat that high score. Although if we get killed by a bat right away, that's not gonna... Let's equip our battle axe. Oh, the bat killed us. Stupid bat. So we've got no gems, but we should still make the list because... and I realize you guys can't see the game. Oops. So, the bat killed us. We got 0 gems. We should still make the Hall of Fame. So if we go to the, let's have to start it over to show the Hall of Fame list. There he is with his. Okay. I guess we didn't insert it in the right order here. So that's an issue, but he did get written to the list. We'll worry about sorting order in a minute. That exercised a... I'll have to step through that code again. Alright, so the persistence is working. That's good. We obviously have other issues, but our code to write that file works. And we can see that it's now putting the line feeds, carriage turns in there. This guy's got... That is very strange. Gems and level are transposed. It's most curious. It doesn't matter, but that's most curious. what does matter is the order of the entities. Key values under the entities. It is written with the same function, IF tag. That's what's so kind of weird about it. I know what it's doing. Okay, so here's the deal. It's being written with the same function, but it's not being read in with the same function. So this record here was in the previous file, and when it's read into memory and the file is parsed, I guess we put gems before level. However, when we created our new record, we're putting level before gems. So let's just go and make it all consistent. So it should be gems and then level. So right here, let's just back guy up. So we'll do gems and then level. And so that should be, the next time we look at that file, next time that file's written, it should be consistent. Okay. So we have a couple issues again. I was saying the probably the most obviously bad one is the fact that our 0 score is appearing in the Hall of Fame above our score of 2, so it's getting how do you take a screenshot in Windows, by the way? I usually use a Mac, so I profess most ignorance in. I don't know. Let's keep going. We've got, so when we're gonna have to step through this because we don't want to step through this. We want to step through this and make sure there are. Destroy computers. What's up, man? Well, a long time no see. Yeah, I was traveling for about 2.5 weeks, so there was a lapse in streaming, but I'm back. Yeah, I think it's like control print screen or something. I don't know. Windows. All right, let's step through that end game stuff. This shield will let me survive long enough to find a gem. Get away, bat. There's a gem. 2 gems. Alright, let's just do 1 for the purposes of our test. And let's quit. So hit our breakpoint. Gems found total is 1. It's read in 0. Ah, crap, it's going to try and put it in the list right here. Maybe I should have deleted that. Oh, let's check it out anyway. So it's going to put it in. Oops, you know what I did? I still have I'm writing it in the wrong order here to fix that. Did I work on the game during travel? No, I did not. So part of today's stream is trying to remember what the heck I was doing before I left. But I think I'm mostly through that part. Alright, so let's write this. And then... Oh, that's the problem right there. So, if we only have one item in our Hall of Fame, then in the list it's going to have a previous of null. And when we do an insert after with a null value here, it pushes it onto the front of the list. Hey Lucifer, what's up? I did write the whole game myself. I'm not using any engines other than those that I have written. The only thing I'm using is I'm using the SDL libraries, a couple of the functions that will allow me to access a pixel buffer for writing to the screen in a cross-platform way, because I didn't want to tackle cross-platform graphics coding for this particular project. I really wanted more to learn C, and also to learn different, game algorithms that pertain to roguelikes, such as field of view and that sort of thing. Entity component system. Okay, so this is our issue right here. Let's just stop the code right now, because first of all we want to do that. But right here, if list previous is null, we actually want to insert it on the end of the list. So we want to insert it after the tail of the list. And in this case, our list is HOF config entities. HOF config entities, this one. I missed aiming for those parens. Okay, and then here we'll do so insert after this. We'll initially we'll try and just insert list previous, but if there's only one item in the list previous will be null, and we don't want to insert it at the front of the list. We want to insert it at the end in that case. So let's save that. Let's go into our, let's fix our Hall of Fame file. Because right now, oh, it's actually in the right order now. Gems 2, gems. Godot engine for your 2D game. support multiplayer, you probably have to do server stuff in C++. Is the Godot engine, is it C? Is that a C-based engine? Back into the game. So Hall of Fame. Maybe the problem is the code that reads it, because I mean, that was definitely an issue, but this is not the right order.
Talk to me honestly.
Argue has 2 gems, and Gineth has 0 gems. So it's reading in the data properly, but it's not reading. It's not displaying it right. Let's go to our Hall of Fame screen code and see what's. Where do we read in our Hall of Fame file? Here, right here. Big file parse. So maybe that's where we're. Okay, hit that breakpoint. C++, okay. I don't know why you would need to do it. Multiplayer shouldn't, just because it's multiplayer, shouldn't dictate your choice of language necessarily, unless there's a C++ library that you're planning to use to make multiplayer easier. Alright, so let's step into this config file parks, because I don't. Did my debugger get lost in the weeds again? Where did it go? I don't know. It got confused, lost its place. So, hit my next breakpoint. Let's see. HOF config. Lucifer, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Alright, let's loop through these entries, see if it's. So we've read it in. Let's see. Record. Right. What's name? Kenneth. Should be second on the list, not first. I bet I'm. Okay, I know what's going on. I bet in my. Let's close this. I have a little bit more room. I bet in this config reading file parse, I bet I'm just shoving everything on the front of the list. Insert after. Null. Yep, there it is. So it's biting me in the ass a lot. Okay, we should just always put it on the tail, I guess, at this point. So we'll do. I give it, so again, when I give null as the second parameter of this insert, it means it doesn't care what it's inserted after, so it just puts it right on the front of it shoves it onto the front of the list. Which is, in this case, where order does matter, like for the Hall of Fame, we should really be explicitly setting what it should be inserted after. So we are going to do we'll do list tail there, and then also right here. Just so everything's written in the proper order. All right, that should. Are you doing the VS Code? This should be what we need. So let's just fire up this bad boy. Now the Hall of Fame should be just breakpoints, let it run. And we got everything in order. Sweet. Okay. So now our Hall of Fame is in order. All right, so I think we're almost done with what I want to accomplish with this particular stream, and I've been streaming for a long time now. But there's a couple last things I want to wrap up. Yeah, almost 3 hours. Last bit. I want to have the Hall of Fame appear on this. Let's kill this. On this screen as well, here in our Hero Hall of Fame. Our end game. So, to open that up, screen end game. Instead of coming soon, we're going to implement this bit. So let me can do a lot of we can basically copy what we have here for the most part. Hey, somebody followed. Age Monkey, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. So in our screen games, end game, screen show end game, let's just add that here. I think HOF config should probably be loaded by this point. Is the engine all code-based, or do you plan on doing UI-based game engine? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Do you mean that? Are you mean that it? Are you talking about the fact that it's all ASCII characters instead of bitmap graphics? All right, so this last bit, loop through all the entries. Oh, UI-based software that helps you make the game. Like level designers and stuff like that. No, right now it's all in the code. It's basically code and a couple config files like this that are all text-based. As far as so the reason that there's no level, there's no UI to help me build levels or whatever is because it's all procedurally generated. I have a dungeon generation routine that will randomly generate different dungeon levels and then place various items and creatures within that dungeon. So there's nothing that is fixed from one gameplay to the next. Like I said, there's some config files that define monsters that could appear in the dungeon and items that could appear, but there's nothing that says put this specific item or this specific creature in this specific spot. All right, almost, and I will show you. We're almost there. So render. Oh, that's the screen. Yeah, okay. Girl Hall of Fame. To do leaderboard. Now we've got this. And instead of coming soon, we've got set R1 equal to y equals 10 is fine. Yes, and then our put string is going to be at 11y. Get rid of coming soon. Let's make that. Let's see. Is this just going to work? Maybe, kind of, sort of. Game. Let's just go down the level. And we found a gem right away. Yay. Okay, so I'm just going to trigger the end game. I need to remove this breakpoint. You guys are seeing me. Did it stop? Where's my call stack? Game over. Something's not right. Hold on. Stone Hexer. Hold on, let me show you. Here. It's bombing here. Exception thrown. something up with the key value pairs thing. That's got botched somehow. Let's see if that's a persistent issue. Something specific too. Because there's another issue that it's quit. Okay. Oh. Well, that's interesting. Oh, it's wrapping. Okay, so looks like it's looks like we might have a couple issues. It looks like it's writing the same data, but it's also wrapping because I don't have enough horizontal space here. So let's see. Oh, you guys can't see that, can you? Derp. So this is what it looks like. It is rendering to this position, so it's rendering to the right position, but it looks like we need to make this a lot wider. So let's do that. I add to the screen. Subview, my info view, right now I'm making it info width, which is 30. That's not gonna be enough. How big is our HO? 80. Let's see how much we need. Let's go with 60. I've got 2 pike smiters. That's interesting. Like I don't have a ton of unique parts of the names, but it's curious that I've got 2 of them. So this is Zorlon Starsmith, and he's about to die. Alright, that's better. So now there's enough. Well, it's not better because now I'm writing over lovely skull. I guess I should make a transparent background. And then shift these over. Getting there. Pull left is going to be 0, first of all. And then when we're rendering into our info view, should probably start it at like 3. Do it. And then, so that's transparent, and I'm rendering the info view. Let's see. Okay. Apparently we don't need the whole 60. Probably get by with about 50 something. And one other thing that I think I'd like to do, if I've got the room, is to increase y by 2 so there's a blank line in between. Is that going to be enough room for 10? I don't think I can fit 10 there. It's not going to be enough. I guess I could shift this down. Hey Gmon, how's it going? Thank you for the follow, I appreciate it. Welcome to the stream. All right. I'm not gonna screw around too much with the placement too much more. That's just kind of tedious work that probably nobody wants to watch. So perhaps off stream I will tweak this so that it gets it a little bit, the layout's a little bit better, but you get an idea of what we're doing here. I might color like the names or something too. That would be kind of cool. Make it visually appealing because it's just like a block of white. You can't really, the values get lost, and apparently I need to make the name field formatting a little bit wider to maybe put this into columns or something so it's nicer to look at. And what? Oh, graphics. Oh, love that. Just toggle between ASCII and bitmapped images. Am I going to write a GUI library yourself with text labels, etc.? So no, I'm not going to do like the whole. I mean, there is essentially my GUI library is being able to write text to specific sections of the screen and these different views. So there's not. There's not going to be like buttons per se. I thought about doing buttons and such, but with the ASCII roguelike, it's really all about the keyboard. So to start a new game, there's no like click here. There's really no mouse usage at all in this game. If I was going to bring in mouse inputs into the game, then I would probably start adding buttons and that sort of thing. So let's escape. I'm pretty happy with what we accomplished today. We did a whole bunch. Just to recap, we finished our game over routine, where we are processing our Hall of Fame list. We're looking at the current game and seeing if it qualifies for the Hall of Fame, and if so, we'll add it to the list. Then we added the file persistence of that list. Ever thought about adding Lua support for doing simpler stuff? Maybe. I mean, this is a pretty simple project as it is. The game is not that complex, but I knew lots of games do kind of embed a Lua interpreter into them. See, maybe down there. Probably not for this project, but for other projects, I wouldn't, especially projects that I might have other people help with, or just being able to host the game logic or game specific logic within a more generic game engine, I could see doing something like that. It is. It's a fast script to know, and I know that it's easily embedded within a C runtime, so I wouldn't rule it out. But for this project, I don't. It's overkill. All right, I am hungry. I've worked well through lunch. Yes, I do read a lot of books about C and low-level stuff. I've got a bookshelf over here of C. Anyone who's interested in kind of modern C programming, I suggest checking this book out. 21st Century C. It's by O'Reilly. The author is Ben Clemens, and earlier on the stream, somebody was saying about how you had to declare your variables up at the top of a block, and that's like old school C89 stuff, Kernighan and Ritchie. C has come a long way, and it's actually a much friendlier language than it used to be. If you pick up K&R, the K&R book to learn C, you're going to be like, ick, this is gross, get me away from here. But modern C is actually pretty nice, so I suggest that. Checking that out. I've got a C pocket reference. I'm a fan of the O'Reilly books. Got most of their ones related to C. Mastering algorithms with C. Oh, this is great. I showed it when I first got this book, but I got this book used from like a library sale or Amazon. And this book is from what year? It's from 1999. And look what comes in the back of this book. I opened this and I was like, this is awesome. It comes in this little package. Look at that. The source code on a 3.5-inch floppy disk, which I haven't owned a computer with a 3.5-inch floppy drive in a long time, but I thought that was pretty awesome. Save that one. So, there you go. Let's see, one recent book that I'm starting to work through. Where'd it go? Oh, this one looks kind of promising as well. Data Structures Using C. It's by Rima Thureha, and I think it's a pretty new book. Oxford University Press, I believe, and this is from 2014, so it's more of your modern C stuff. But if you haven't given C a look in a while, and you're interested, I suggest reading some stuff on modern C. Some of the stuff that C99 standard introduced, and I think there's like a C11 or something like that. Did I read all of those? I will admit that I did not read all of them cover to cover, but 21st Century C book I pretty much read. I think I read parts of it several times. But I've thumbed through most of them, and some of them are really for reference too. So like if I'm implementing a particular data structure, I'll dive into that section of the book. Right, I have not yet eaten lunch, and my stomach is reminding me of that fact, so I am going to call it a day. Thank you everyone for watching. This was a very successful stream, both in terms of work done and for viewership. I think this is the highest number I've ever had, so thank you everyone for watching. If you have not yet hit that follow button, please do so, so you get reminded the next time that I am streaming. It should be in the not too distant future. All of the archives of previous streams are available on YouTube. Oh, and that reminds me, I finally hit 100 subscribers on YouTube, which means that I have my own custom URL now. You can see it right there, YouTube/C/PDcodes. So check that out. There's a playlist of all of the previous streams. If you want to hit me up on Twitter, I'm at PDcodes. And again, all of the source code for the entire game is available on GitHub at that link over to, right here. And be sure to grab that. You can play along at home. As I said, it builds on Windows, it builds on Mac OS, and I'm sure it would not take a lot of tweaking to get it to build on Linux as well. So check it out and play along at home the next time streaming. So thank you everyone for watching, and I will catch you next time. Take it easy.